Good morning, everybody. Jim Feist and Hank Goldberg here in Las Vegas. Hank, we are in the middle of an election battle, and who knows what's going to happen. I know it's close. We see the numbers, but our job is to pick winners in football. So if you have any comments...
Well, people do bet on there. Are people who bet on this stuff.
Oh, yeah. I saw where there was $400 million bet on the election in Europe, in England. That's we don't bet on it in the United States, but not allowed to. But big stuff, big stuff. Now, right now, the current number that I see is Biden is minus 600 at the moment, but it flip flops. It moves around with the numbers.
Well, he's only six votes away on the what he needs to win.
All he has to do is pick up Nevada, Arizona, one of those.
If he picks up Nevada and Arizona, he's in. Then he'll have the electoral votes that he needs.
Right.
But if any one of these ones that they're watching, which are North Carolina, Georgia, and Pennsylvania, if he gets any one of those, so they don't need Nevada or Arizona.
Right. It's Hank, we have a football game tonight. I don't know that they haven't called me up to come suit up because everybody on these teams is like hurt or sick.
Well, I can tell you this: San Francisco on offense only has their three players are they have three starters on offense. A tackle, a fullback, and one other player. I forget what it is.
That's mess. It. What a mess.
The right tackle, a left guard, and a fullback. That's all they got on offense.
I mean, this Green Bay. I mean, I see the numbers. It's Green Bay's up to 7.5 in some spots, 7 in other spots. I don't know. You going to play this game?
No. I might play the under. I don't know. Green Bay played badly last week. I think Jones may play. Some of their guys who were on their injury list are good enough to play. They do have a good running back, Williams. And they still got their quarterback, and they got their wide receivers. So, at least they got some decent players.
I'll tell you, COVID has really made a big difference in everybody's life. Louisville, Virginia is postponed, canceled. Tulsa, Navy got postponed. Purdue, Wisconsin canceled. It's just Florida International, UTEP. It's just this year is just amazing.
Well, the NFL goes on.
It does. It does. Is there any what games would you like to discuss? I know.
College football. They pushed them into playing, and some of them should not be playing. So
I agree.
And I think Wisconsin may lose its whole season.
Yeah. What are they going to do with the college basketball season?
Starts in December.
They have there's a lot of teams, a lot of players. Keeping everybody healthy is a monumental task.
Well, we'll see what happens, but they're planning on starting in late December.
Any games on Sunday in the NFL that really interest you?
Yeah. I think, I'll go in order. I like Seattle over Buffalo. I think Buffalo is not playing well. They haven't covered the last 4 games. Their defense is no good. And they got to face Russell Wilson in that passing game.
Yeah.
I think I'll be curious to see what happens with Chicago, Tennessee. Tennessee is suddenly not playing too well. I think the Baltimore-Indianapolis game is very, very interesting to me. Indianapolis is good. Their defense
Very good.
is among the top. They're number one in a couple of categories, and they've got Leonard back, as we said last week. We liked him last week, and I think that Baltimore has problems, and I think the problem is quarterback. He is not playing well. He can't beat good teams. Good team, and I think what's happened is they've solved him. They know how to beat this guy. The teams have studied him, and they know how to contain him. And I'll tell you, basically, not to get too technical, but basically what these teams do, they crowd the edges to make sure that he can't get outside. So they keep him buried inside so he can't make big plays, and he holds the ball too long. And as a result, he's been sacked or hurried too many times. He's been sacked, and he's among the leaders in quarterback sacks. And now they've lost Stanley, their left tackle, who is their lead offensive lineman. And I think they got real problems. And I think Indianapolis can beat them. Rivers, the last 2 weeks, has played very well. They got a running game. Their offensive line can protect them. And I think that that's going to be a very interesting game to watch.
Well, the money certainly agrees with you. The game opened 3.5. It's down to 2 in most places. So it definitely agrees with you. The Baltimore, Jackson is not. He's not a top flight thrower of the ball, passer of the ball. A great runner. They had a lot of yards on the ground last week against Pittsburgh, but his passing game is rather weak, and we see that.
I think he had 4 turnovers last week against Pittsburgh.
He did. Going back up to the first game, you started talking about Seattle-Buffalo. We got kind of the same issue with Buffalo's quarterback. He is just not an accurate passer. And that.
Their problem is that. Last week New England should have beaten them. If it wasn't for the fumble late in the game by Cam, New England did cover. But
right.
If he doesn't fumble that ball on the 12 or 14-yard line, they're on their way to winning the game.
I agree.
Denver-Atlanta is an interesting game.
Well,
Atlanta won last week. Ryan has played pretty decently. But I'll tell you, Denver, the quarterback is Locke is playing pretty decently right now.
That was a hell of a comeback last week against the Chargers.
You could call it a comeback, or you could. That was the 4th straight game that the Chargers have lost where they were ahead by double digits.
Unbelievable.
That coach is history.
He should be gone already. I agree.
Well, they don't have anybody yet. They've just, one deal after another where you can't, they get out in front in games and then they just tank.
Yes.
But whatever, I'll tell you who should be gone is their defensive coordinator.
Oh, yeah.
Because as soon as they get into a lead, they go into a soft defense. Every week they do the same thing. Teams that go up against them, and Denver last week, that guy just played catch, took him down the field in like a minute.
Yeah, it made Denver's offense look
extremely good when you play that kind of soft defense. Atlanta.
Oh, by the way, and they got terrible injury problems on defense. Boza's and the concussion syndrome. They got the two safeties are out. They've got a lot of injuries on the defensive side of the ball.
Makes a big difference. They got to play the Raiders this week. The Raiders playing pretty well this year. It seems like
Raiders is doing it. He outcoaches everybody.
Yeah, Gruden's done a good job.
He's got another game where they can win. Against the Chargers, and they got a good running game. And last week they were playing in terrible weather conditions, and Carr didn't have a great passing game, but he did just enough. And he can beat you with his legs at times too. And he's smart. And I like the Raiders a lot.
Yeah, they're playing real well. They opened that game 3. It's down to 1 or pick 'em. A lot of money came in on the Raiders. I agree with it as well. The Raiders. I mean, you do have a big coaching advantage. You got the injuries on the Chargers that are big. We all like what Herbert's doing, but he can't overcome coaching.
He didn't do much last week. I think they were trying to limit him. They were making him stay in the pocket. He's at his best when he's rolling out.
Well, that's a game we both agree on. The Giants put up a fight on Monday night, covered the spread. They go down to Washington.
Well, they could have won that game.
Yep.
And I'll tell you, and I had the Giants last week.
So did I.
And when I picked it on CBS, the producer said, I knew you were going to pick the Giants. I said, well, first of all, it was a classic trap game because you had Tampa Bay this week has the Saints. So they weren't going to show anything last week. And the Giants, there's similarities between the Bears and the Giants. I think the Giants' defense, which is very good, is getting tired of playing their butts off and having their quarterback make the same mistake every week. Now the quarterback, he's two different guys, but he'll always make that same terrible pass at the worst possible time. And he's only had one game in 2 years where he didn't have a turnover.
Wow.
And he would say, well, he's only in his second year. So what? Look at the other second year or first year quarterbacks and how they're doing. He's behind them.
He definitely
is. So the Giants are going to have an interesting decision to make this year because they're going to be in a position where they can get a real good quarterback coming out. And are they going to stay with this guy? He has so many brilliant, he took the team down the field at the end, and they got him within 2 points. They could have won that game against the team that a lot of people think is the best team in football. And then he throws the ball a little bit behind the receiver, and so, they don't get the 2-point conversion. He has to learn to throw the ball away when he's in trouble. And he doesn't learn. I don't think he went to Duke. I think that's a lie. Nobody who went to Duke can be that stupid.
We're gonna do an investigation on that. That was funny. Oh God. Well, actually, I like Washington in that game. They're coming off a bye. Giants are coming off. Coming off the short week. I like Washington. I mean, Rivera's, he's not working with a lot of great talent there, but they're playing hard. And
well, that Giant game. I mean, in fairness to the quarterback, he doesn't have his top 2 runners. They're both out.
Right.
But and if they had the kid from Penn State, they might have won a couple of those games. They had 5 winnable games that they lost because of turnovers. And their defense plays hard, and that coach has done a good job with them. Except that I don't think this quarterback listens. But Washington, they've got Allen at quarterback, and they've got a good defense. They've got a very good defensive line, and they're well rested. And the Giants have a short week going on the road, and they're coming off a very tough loss. I agree with you on that one. There's a couple other games. I think I love Arizona this week against Miami. Love them.
Well,
I'll tell you why. First, number one, Arizona's got a very good pass defense. Secondly, they've got the quarterback Murray going against Tua. Tua did very little last week. I mean, he had 83 yards in passing. Miami last week on defense gave up 470 yards to the Rams. But, the Rams quarterback had turnovers in the game, which he attempted to do. And, but they were out, they had yardage they lost by 470 to 113 or something like that. So their offense is not clicking really, and they got lucky last week. But because they had a kick return for a score, and they had an interception for a score, and the quarterback Tua threw 1 touchdown pass for 4 yards. I think that Arizona is going to crush them. And by the way, I think their running back is going to play. So Murray is, and the receivers are healthy.
They have some good.
They're practicing.
They have some good receivers on that team.
Yeah.
It's
and the big game this week is New Orleans and Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
I think
that's a great game.
Tampa Bay is given 5 points in some places. That's a lot. I think Thomas may come back this week. They're going to have Sanders. And this is the one thing that Tampa Bay does is everybody raves about that defensive coordinator with Tampa Bay, but he loves to blitz. And you don't blitz Breeze because he'll beat you.
Breeze is a very efficient quarterback. We know that we got 2 40-year-old quarterbacks here, but Breeze hasn't thrown the ball down the field very much, but he hasn't had Thomas in the lineup either. It is a rematch. They played the first game of the year. Tampa went to the Saints, and the Saints beat them. But that was the first game of the year, so a lot of people are looking at this as like a revenge game. But that's
well, it's also an important game because of the division, who's going to win it. But I'll tell you something. New Orleans can rush the passer. They've got the one good. They've got a real good edge rusher who could put pressure on Brady. But I think this is going to be a good competitive game, and I think. New Orleans plays well on the road. They didn't cover last week by a half a point, but they're 9-2 on the road right now against the spread. And I don't think you give Breeze 5 points.
No. Classically, you take good quarterbacks, good teams that are good underdogs. We didn't talk about this game, but going back up to Carolina at the Chiefs. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is this remarkable record that Bridgewater has as an underdog.
He stunk last week.
Yeah, he was not good.
He was awful.
He was.
That's another guy that somebody figured out. And I'll tell you something. Kansas City's going to... I'm going to lay the big number. First of all... They can't defend the run, and they got injuries on the defensive side of the ball. and they've got some offensive line problems right now, and they can't protect Bridgewater. The only thing is that McCaffrey may come back this week.
Right.
And if he's back, it really helps them. But Kansas City is starting to blow teams away. And the reason is, I think, they've got the second running back. So they got two fresh running backs who can really dominate. But also, Mahomes last week had a huge game.
Oh, he's absolutely incredible.
And the games at Kansas City, and I just don't think that Bridgewater is up to. He had a couple of good games, but last week he was really bad. I mean, he couldn't complete a 4-yard pass.
He was bad last week. He was. Jacksonville quarterback Minshew had broken thumb and didn't tell anybody, and now he's not going to play this week. What is the quarterback situation in Jacksonville?
Well, they've got another guy they're going to play, Brissett, I think his name is. But anyway, Houston is bound to win a game because their quarterback is playing pretty well, and he's got some decent receivers, and I think Romeo has got them at least trying, and I just think Jacksonville's got got guys hurt on the defensive side of the ball that I think that it's time for Houston to bounce up and win.
Well, the biggest spread on the board this week, the Steelers are 14 at Dallas. Dallas, everybody gave them a shot for being very good this year, but boy, this is a mess down there right now.
Well, the quarterback is not an NFL quarterback, but he's not going to play this week. They're going to make a change. They've got a quarterback who played in that other league, who played pretty well. I think they may give him a shot. But anyway, Pittsburgh is undefeated. They might wind up undefeated. Look at their schedule.
Yeah, it could. I mean, they will have to play Baltimore again, but this is a kind of a soft spot for Pittsburgh. I mean, I understand how much more talented they are, but they just came off beating Cleveland and Baltimore back to back, and now they're going to Dallas, which they can't be inspired about it. But that's a big number to lay. I mean, Dallas, you can't play Dallas; they're horrible. But
well, Dallas's defense didn't play all that bad last week, and if they had a quarterback, they might have won that game. But that quarterback was lost. I mean, he was wide-eyed and lost.
Yeah, came out of
Minnesota.
James
How
Madison,
about Minnesota
right?
this week?
Minnesota playing Detroit. They played. Dalvin Cook had a hell of a week last week against Green Bay. He just ate them alive.
Yeah.
And they're playing the Lions, and the game is is it COVID or injuries that we're dealing with here? COVID. Matthew Stafford has COVID.
Yeah.
Wow. This is one hell of a year. 2020 is one we'll never forget. And Baltimore, here's one that we talked about already. The board just lit up, and a lot of money came in on the Colts. We're seeing a lot of 1.5s now.
Yep.
Yeah? Looks like you got the right side there, Hank. Money's following you.
I gave it out on our service. That's why the number dropped.
Yeah, it's very, very likely. You've had some good years. Well, Hank, is anything else going on in the world of sports that you want to talk about?
Yeah, Breeders' Cup.
All right. What's going on there?
The 2-year-old races are Friday, and Saturday this is the best Breeders' Cup I think I've seen in years, as far as how competitive it is, and really great races. Even while there isn't a lot in the distaff, you got 2 great fillies in there, Monomoy and Swiss Skydiver. You won't get rich betting that race, but it's going to be a great race to watch. And, there's only 7 horses in that race, I think. But that's going to be a hell of a race. And Swiss Skydiver, I talked to his trainer, and I asked him, because there was some talk that she might run in the Classic. And I asked him what prompted that decision. And he felt that the Classic was just too deep. There were too many good horses in there. And he said, personally, he prefers the 1.25 mile distance for her. And I said, well, there are a lot of people who think if you had gone in there and won that race, you'd win Horse of the Year. And he said, well, I could still make a case for her. I mean, she's done very well. And she did beat the boys in her last race, and but I don't. He won't. She won't have a shot at Horse of the Year, even if she wins the distaff. There are a bunch of good other races. I will tell you this: in the grass races, Aidan O'Brien would not have come over here if he didn't think he had a good chance. And he's a British trainer. He's got in the Turf Classic, he's got a horse called, he's got 2 in there, Magical and Mogul. Mogul's a 3-year-old. Magical is the favorite in that race. And that's going to be a great race to watch because you got Channel Maker United, and another horse in there called Tarbonneau. But to those of you who are going to be playing those races, when you see Aidan O'Brien as a trainer, pay some attention. Classic has 10 horses, and you could make a case for almost any one of them. The horse I like in there is 6-1, Tom Zaytot. Tom Zaytot has he's an older horse, which I like. He's blood blame. He beats Zenyatta, and his last race was the Whitney, and he stumbled out of the gate, and it took him right out of the race because he got too far back. Baffert has 3 horses in there, and one of them is Improbable, who's the favorite, number 8, and he's going to be a factor in the race. Tis the Law's in there, who
It's some good horses.
Is great horses. You got Authentic, another speed horse, who I think has some distance limitations. And the horse that I like to run with the 4 horse. By the way, Rosario is on a 4 horse. The horse that I like at 6-1. But Maximum Security. He's a good stretch runner. Baffert's been working his tail off. He's going to be, I think, number 10. So I think if you're going to bet supers, there's 5 horses I like. And they're the 4, 8, 10, and the 9. And I think that any one of them, and Tacitus.
Oh.
This is a horse who's trained by Billy Mott, who never wins. He's always second or third. He hasn't won a Grade 1, and but he's a late runner.
He's a great horse, though.
And I think he's a good horse, and he's a horse you can put underneath. So those 5 horses, in any order you choose,
wow,
are the ones I'm using. It's a great race. It's the best race of the year, unquestionably.
And you get that many horses, if you get the right number, I mean, you can get you can get a big price.
You're going to get paid.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you something about Improbable, who's the favorite. It could go up to 3-1. But this horse has won 3 straight Grade 1s in a row. Won the race at Del Mar, the Whitney, and the Gold Cup. 3 in a row.
Wow. That's hard to do. That is hard.
I'm really excited about that race, and I'm looking forward to it.
Now, what day is that, Hank? It's Saturday?
Saturday.
Well.
Friday are the 2-year-old races. And there's one horse in a sprint that you should watch, and that could be the best horse running right now. That's in the filly and mare sprint.
Wow.
On the Acorn and the Test, the horse is a freak.
Wow. Well, that's exciting. I mean, we need a lot of excitement. Well, the MAC came back last week in football, so now we got the Breeders' Cup, so we're filling up the card. That's good.
Did you watch any of the games last night?
I did not. I wasn't feeling well. I had those shots that I took yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
God, it knocked the hell out of me. I had, 2 weeks ago I had the flu shot. I'm doing what the doctor told me to do, take the flu shot, then go back this week and get the shingles shot and the pneumonia shot. Last night I felt like I was going to die. The whole night. I went to bed at 8 o'clock and never woke up till 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock this morning.
Well, I'll tell you something. It was that Midwestern College conference got started last night, and we're Solid's coaches, and there were some decent games, but we were 2-1 on the service, so it was a good start for that. The Big Ten is getting going, and I think Wisconsin. What were the games you told me were canceled? I don't think I had all of them.
Let me go back and check here. Hold on.
I know Wisconsin's not playing.
We got Louisville, Virginia.
Oh, you say Tulsa's off?
Tulsa and Navy's off. Some of them are saying canceled, others are saying postponed. So, but they're not playing.
Well, they're not going to be playing this week.
Right. Purdue, Wisconsin. And you got Florida International and UTEP. And that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. There's some good games to play Saturday. I'll tell you a team that's playing pretty well that's under the radar is East Carolina.
Yeah? Yeah, they're playing
Tulane.
Playing Tulane, getting 5 at home.
Yep.
Okay.
So I point one game out for you. I always do.
Well, let me ask you, since you opened that up, let me ask you about this Clemson-Notre Dame game.
I like Clemson.
Yeah, so do I.
It's not like they have a stiff at quarterback.
No, he's a 5-star recruit. He's going to be a great player.
But I want to watch the game.
Yeah, of course.
I hope it's not on opposite the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, it's 5.
Late?
5. Yeah, it's a 4:30 game.
Yeah, well, I may have to go away for a couple of minutes.
Right, I got you. All right, Hank. Thank you very much. Have a great week.
Well, feel better, Jim.
I think another 24 hours it'll clear. They tell you you're gonna when you get the shots. They tell you you're gonna feel sick. I said, oh, great. But
the pneumonia shot, they told me you might not feel good. I had a little soreness in my right arm for overnight, and that was it. But I was lucky I didn't get anything. So,
well, that's
anyway. But I'll tell you, the surgeon who took care of pulling my 2 teeth, boy, is he good. I had no problems whatsoever, and he calls me to see how I'm doing. And I went to see him on Tuesday. He said, "Oh, no infection, nothing. Don't worry. Stop gargling." you're fine.
We'll give him a plug. What's his name?
Gardner.
Dr. Gardner. Dental. Okay.
Yep.
All right, everybody. Have a great week, Hank. I appreciate everything, and stay well, please.
Okay.
Thank you, buddy.
You too.
Bye-bye.
So long, pal.
Okay, everybody. It is election time. It's Thursday. We're still counting ballots and trying to figure out who won, who didn't win, and what the heck we're going to do next. But important thing is, for us, we got sports to bet on, and we got to figure out how to handle this pandemic and keep places open and make people feel safe so that they can go out. That's the thing that I've noticed. I mean, they open up places, but nobody shows up because they're scared. And so I hear everybody open up, but then nobody comes in, and then the only people that come in are the kids, and of course they act irresponsibly. And anyway, it's crazy. I hope things calm down for all of us, and we all stay safe and have fun. Okay, we'll talk to you next week, guys. Thanks.